Oh. Just. Hey, so today I got Hawaiian food from a local place here in Vegas. It's called Makai, and it is like a Hawaiian Chipotle. It's so good. This is one of my favorite restaurants, period, in Vegas. It's like a Hawaiian Chipotle. You go up, you have your choice of white or brown rice, a couple choices of meats, and then poke as like an upgrade. I got spicy poke and regular poke. Chicken katsu. It's so good. Regular poke. This is like teriyaki sauce. It's so good. The spicy poke. The Pokeball. So since we talked about relationships in the last one, something that I've recently been also struggling with, I wouldn't say struggling as much as having like a coming to Jesus moment with, is friendships. I think a lot of it has to do with the way that I was raised as an only child and the only grandchild. So I didn't have any cousins, no siblings, until I was 12 or 13. 12. My aunt finally gave me a cousin. And so I remember as a child growing up being, I guess, a freak about friendships and thinking that everybody was my best friend and that everybody could be trusted, which I learned the hard way growing up. It's not the case. So as a child, I remember meeting people in like second grade and thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to be the best of friends. You're so cool. You're so nice. And then when the feelings weren't reciprocated, I always thought something was wrong with me. Obviously, that's not the case, but not everybody wants to be your friend. And so I really clung to people, I feel like, because of that. And then, you know, middle school, high school, I grew out of it, and I think I grew into more of being an introvert and like accepting that most people suck and friendships, you know, often in that time don't last. Now that I'm older, I feel like I'm also having a sort of second realization in that everybody has their own lives, and it's not a reflection of you or a reflection of your friendship at that. That people don't, again, they don't, it's not that they don't have time for you, because you'll make time if you really want to see the person. But we're all getting older now. We're all well, my friends and I are all in our late 20s. People have kids. People now have families. People now have husbands. So it's not about going out for drinks on a Friday. It's not about meeting up for brunch on Sunday. And I still do all of those things with my friends who have kids. I'm not saying it's the end all be all. But there are other things that are more important to people now than hanging out with your friends. And so I feel like quarantine kind of made me realize it's not me, to not take things so personally, I guess. And it's hard to think that way. It's hard to not make everything about you and not take everything so critically, in the sense that, you know, oh my gosh, I'm losing my friends. No, you're not losing your friends. They're still there. They're just, they have lives as well. Something that does trip me up, though, is when you have such a good connection with somebody, let's call them person A. You have a great connection with person A. You really like their personality. You think they're hilarious. They're just like, you know, your person, somebody that you want to, you know, hang out with and be around. And then person B comes along, and let's say you don't really care for them. They're not your cup of tea. You don't really vibe with them. You don't find yourself having a lot of things in common with that person. But yet person A and person B can still become friends within themselves. And that blows my mind sometimes, that it's like, wait, you're really cool with person A, but you don't like person B. How is it that person A and person B can get along? And again, I feel like I have to take myself out of myself and realize, okay, not everybody's going to vibe with you. Not everybody's going to like you, Alex, which is fine. And it goes both ways. You're not going to like everybody that you meet either. But it's just weird to me that it's like, okay, wait, what do you see in that person that I'm not seeing? It's weird. I hate myself. I also feel like something that's not really taught is similar to relationships, but you do also outgrow your friendships. And I think we all kind of learn that in high school and realize that, yeah, you're not going to be friends with the same people that you were in high school. I happen to be very lucky in that I have a group chat that I've managed to maintain for the last 10 plus years, which is wild to me. But there's 5 of us in a group chat. We talk at least 3 times a week. I think it's worked for as long as it has because everybody in the chat has similar views. And I hate to sound like I'm part of the intolerant left, but at this point, even in the chat, we've said it, that there's no room for friendships now entering almost our 30s that don't align with the same values that we have as individuals. I totally agree with that. I'm just not here for friendships that aren't full of compassion and understanding, and just my life is full of people who know the difference between right and wrong, and I feel like there's no room for error at this point. So back to outgrowing people, I feel like it's normal to do so at a lot of the stages in your life. And that's something that's not really spoken of. Like a lot of fights between friends don't ever really get resolved. And then once you do, again, similar to a relationship, once you do fix a fight, it's kind of never the same. I look at my parents and my family, and I think, yeah, I can think of one really good close friend that every person in my family has, that they call and they text and stuff like that. But again, it's also a generational thing. Like, my parents didn't grow up with cell phones in their hands, so they're not going to have the same bubble of people that they still keep in contact with from way back then. It's going to be different for our generation. So I feel like it's going to be weird to see how we as millennials handle having people from middle school still on Instagram and Facebook, and seeing these people that we've known for years. Not that I'm friends or close friends with, people from middle school, but my point is that our parents didn't grow up texting, whereas we did. So our main form of communication is texting, like this group chat that I have. My parents never had a group chat. Sure, they can form one now, but that's not what they grew up with. So my thing is, like, yeah, we're going to have a little bit of a bigger bubble, I feel like, of people that we still talk to on a regular basis and still want to communicate with when we're 40, 50, 60 years old. I was writing Christmas cards out to all of my friends, and I found myself wanting to exclude one of my closest friends, like somebody that I consider, I mean, we share, I'm going to say this, we share Netflix and Hulu accounts, like passwords. She's the person that I call when things go awry, so to speak. She knows everything about all the guys I've dated, and she was like that contact for me. But I feel like recently we've lost that contact, and I feel kind of, I guess, hurt, upset, betrayed, all of the above about it. And again, I take it way too personally, and I think, okay, she's just not into me anymore. She just doesn't want to hear, like, me and my problems, and like, no longer relates to the things that I feel and the things that I, align myself with. So it's I know it's a part of life, and it's a part of growing up and going through the motions, but it's not always fun. It's not always a fun thing to go through, especially when, there wasn't a fight, there wasn't a disagreement. We just are starting to slowly lose touch. And I don't want that, because I really like her as a person. But going back to my original point, I see the friend that she's closer with, and I have nothing in common with the friend that she's closer with. And I think, oh yeah, okay, if this is what this is going to sound really judgmental, but if that's what she is more comfortable with and likes to hang out with more, then yeah, like it's definitely 100% the best thing for us in our friendship. I also think it's normal for some people to not have a lot of friends. I think that should be normalized more too, because I'm lucky in that I do have like my handful of people that I, consider really close, good friends. But I think too often we place such an importance on that, and I don't think it's necessary, in my opinion. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just about what's important to you, right? It's about the things that you want to make time for and the things that you think should take a priority in your life. And it really shouldn't matter what anyone else thinks. I'm currently in a fight with one of my oldest girlfriends. She has been my friend since high school, and I feel like, is a friend who is only there for text messages and phone calls. She's not really somebody that I hang out with. But recently she got upset because I wasn't replying fast enough. I was, out and about running errands or with my father, something like that, where I couldn't reply immediately. And, excuse me, she got upset that I wasn't replying fast enough. And I just said, Jesus, I'm busy. I'll get to you when I can. But you're also like CEO of never answering your phone when I call sometimes. Relax. It's just not that serious. It's a text message, and it's not like we were talking about anything important where she needed to know the answer immediately. But we haven't spoken since then because of that. She got upset that I was basically upset at the fact that she was pestering and asking where I was, because she was constantly messaging me like, hello, why aren't you replying? And it wasn't out of concern. I know it was just out of like boredom. And so it's been about 3 or 4 months since we've last spoken. And this is like, again, somebody that I've known since high school, somebody that I've kept in contact with for a very long time now. My camera died as I was in the middle of my story. Anyway, as I was saying, she's somebody that I've kept in contact with for 10 plus years now, and we've talked on a regular basis, but I don't know if she's somebody that's worth, I guess, reaching out to, which sounds terrible when I say it out loud, but at the end of the day, if we're going to get into a fight, on both ends, on mine and hers, but if we're going to get into a fight over something this ridiculous and neither one of us is going to apologize after 3 or 4 months, then is that something that either one of us really feels that strongly about? I don't think so. I think we're both stubborn Hispanic women. Absolutely, 100%. That's part of the answer. But I also feel like it's not, the friendship isn't that deep. So why fight for it? And maybe that's just me being really stubborn and not wanting to say, hey, I'm sorry for, hurting your feelings, or whatever it is that I'm sorry for. I don't even know. Am I sorry for anything? I don't know. But my point is that I'm not sure that the relationship is worth salvaging if neither one of us misses each other that much to say, hey, you know what? I was in the wrong. Forgive me. So I think I'm going to pack it up here. I'm pretty much full. I had both of the portions of the chicken katsu, basically a portion of the poke, a lot of this, a couple bites of that, which means one, more than a scoop of mac, and then almost the entire scoop of rice. So I think I did pretty dang well. I'm gonna take the rest home to my mother's house because I feel like she loves poke. One of my biggest pet peeves at a restaurant that I used to work at, they had these tuna poke wonton tacos, and people all the time would say tuna poke. I'm like, what, tuna poke? Come on now. That's it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching and eating with me. I will see you in the next one. Bye. Let's see if I can do this again. How?